I just got done watching the new trailer for Skeleton Crew. You know what? I changed my mind. I think this is going to be an interesting TV show. In my last video about Skeleton Crew, I said that I wasn't interested. I don't want to watch a bunch of kids screaming and running around. But this trailer kind of changed my mind and kind of showed us a little more about it. Goonies in space. It's not just Goonies in space. It's kind of going to be a love letter to every 80s property that came out at that time. That's what it looks like to me. And I did read an interview today, creators of the show talking about how they put the show together. And at this point, I believe that it's going to be the most unique project that Disney Star Wars has put out so far. And that's saying a lot because they've put quite a few things out so far. I feel like they've been sticking to a really rigid kind of list of roles. What I'm saying is everything from Disney Star Wars so far has felt the same. I don't know if it feels like that to you, but every time I watch something from Disney Star Wars, I feel like it's like a set out of Galaxy's Edge. And it wasn't just the trailer that kind of changed my perception of this show, but it was the artwork, the poster for the TV show. I could tell that they're really trying to capture that 80s magic, the same magic that kind of brought us all those great movies. You know, when George Lucas and Steven Spielberg were in their prime and they were just pumping out hit after hit. The only other show that I can think of right now that did that as well was Stranger Things, and they actually nailed it. I like Stranger Things, so I can't discount this show right now because that was a bunch of annoying kids running around, but I still very much enjoyed that show. Even though they're taking like 5 years to make this next season or this last season, hasn't it been like 4 years or something? Another thing I wanted to mention in this article with Star Wars Skeleton Crew, John Watts and Chris Ford are ready for their own pirate adventure. I'm just going to read to you a piece of this article here because it kind of gets into their minds. It kind of shows you what they were thinking putting this together, and it's given me a little more faith in the show. So everybody was calling it Goonies, but Star Wars as kind of like a joke, but it turns out these guys were actually looking at the Goonies and actually talked to the creator a while back. Okay, so this part of this article is kind of telling us where they're getting their inspirations from. The story of Skeleton Crew, set in an era of the New Republic, carries forward much of the same heart and sense of adventure inherent in the Goonies and other stories of the era, including the classic LucasArts game Monkey Island, Amblin Entertainment's E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and Lucasfilm's Indiana Jones franchise. It's the story of kids who happen to live on what they think is a boring planet, says co-creator Chris Ford, but as they go on the adventure, finding their way back quickly becomes complicated. Unfortunately, along the way, they attract the attention of a bunch of pirates and other space criminals. I loved Monkey Island as a kid, and I still do, and getting to do Space Pirates was something that allowed me to check back in. Did you ever play Monkey Island? I never got to play that. Is it any good? Let me know in the comments if you played that and what that could bring to this Star Wars show. And then he goes on to say, and Amblin always stands out to me because there was a feeling that they took the kids seriously. They didn't feel like kids movies when you watched them as a kid. And even now looking back, they feel like grown up films that just happen to star kids. Yes, I think that too. I think that that's one aspect that's been lost in the entertainment industry. They think everything has to be like everything for kids has to star kids. That's where they go wrong with a lot of things. So I'm thinking with that mindset, well, listen, all these people too that are saying like it wasn't made for you, it's made for kids, so stop complaining, you stupid chud, you chuds. The series creators had the idea for Skeleton Crew before the release of their critically acclaimed film Spider-Man Homecoming, featuring another young protagonist who is suddenly thrust into excitement. Oh, okay, that was weird. Featuring another young protagonist who is suddenly thrust into excitement and adventure. I think many of us craved that same feeling of escape and empowerment when we were younger, Ford adds. We've all pondered our place in the universe, and the story explores the galaxy through a unique perspective, which is the curious mind of a child in all of us. In this case, an imaginative daydreamer, a risk taker, a loyal best friend, and a tech whiz. These kids are in danger. Oh, also, they confirmed in this article that Neil, the little blue elephant Baby Yoda ripoff, is not the same species as Max Rebo, which is very disappointing. I am definitely disappointed about that. I was hoping we get a little baby Max Rebo, but yeah, they look different enough that there's no way that they could be the same species. Enter Jod. Jod is played by Jude Law. His full name is Jod Nawood, which is that's a weird name. Here's this part. The series lead, a mysterious character named Jod Nawood, ultimately went to Academy Award nominee Jude Law. Before we met him, we wanted to cast him, Ford admits. We wanted that sense of roguishness and that feeling that he's a leading man that happens to get stuck with these kids. Luckily, Law was all in. I remember the first time I got on the phone with him and he was so excited to delve into the character and make him so nuanced and real. Ford adds, he had so many ideas, and that's when we learned that he's a giant Star Wars fan, which is a gift. So that's a really good thing. Whenever a Star Wars fan gets involved with making new Star Wars, you know, I want everybody involved to already be a Star Wars fan. And I think he'll do his best with the character. And from what I heard online, he already kind of made a really good change. He already kind of put his foot down about one thing. They were going to make Jude Law wear like some kind of flowy hair wig, making him look like some kind of broccoli head out there. And he was like, nah, I'm not wearing that. I'm not wearing that wig. I'm going to go with my hairline how it is. No, he looks really good in all the shots, but he said because his character wears a helmet, and it only makes sense that he wouldn't have this beautiful, always done flowing hair if his character wears a helmet, you know? So I don't know what helmet he's talking about. I don't know. Do pirates wear helmets? Law was game for new acting challenges with an array of puppet creatures, aliens, and droids as scene partners. Jude going toe-to-toe with a tiny little hand puppet really brings out a different kind of performance. Rounding out the main cast is Nick Frost, voicing the new droid SM-33 alongside co-stars Carrie Condit. Listen, that's great that we're getting new droids in this. As long as nobody tries to, you know, have a relationship with these droids, I'll be fine, okay? In addition to the Amblin films of their own formative years, Watts and Ford have imbued their story with the thrills of Predator and the serious beats of Empire of the Sun and Flight of the Navigator. From the start, the filmmakers were encouraged to use their own unique perspective and story, then use the Star Wars galaxy as a lens to view it through. They say, it was an instinct we had from the beginning, Ford said. And then later talking to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni about the way to approach trying to write in Star Wars, they advised we tap into something that you love. You can't just do Star Wars because then you're kind of aping it. You're trying to do what George Lucas did when he was trying to make Flash Gordon. It was fascinating talking to Dave about his conversations with George and his original Star Wars influences. It really helped open our minds about the right way to approach the universe and to figure out if something feels correct or not. So, man, they're really trying with this one, man. I mean, it does sound like they're trying to reach into something original, tap something, some kind of magic from the past, but I hope it's good. And yes, of course I'm gonna watch it. Come on. I gotta make videos on something, okay? I'm watching everything Star Wars, everything new Star Wars. I don't care. I don't care what it is. I'm gonna watch it, I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna report it back to you on this channel. Let's go ahead and watch the trailer together.
What are you in for? What are you in for?
I found something buried in the woods.
Dad.
This is unacceptable. Do you understand?
What do you think it is? Don't touch anything.
So this kind of gave me Rey vibes. You know, this kid never flew a ship like this before, but all of a sudden they're taking off and going to hyperspace. Now I think it's going to be autopilot, which would make more sense, you know, which is what they said Rey should have done. I'm not going back to Rey again.
What did you do?
We're lost. Really lost.
This is pretty cool how they kind of end up, you know, on a different planet. They kind of end up, well, that looks like a space station, but I think the environment's much like Star Wars Outlaws is going to be really cool in this show. I think they're going to show us some neat places and hopefully interesting characters.
Together, we just need some directions home.
Come on, kid. Pay up. Whoa.
Where'd you two find an old Republic credit? over here, quick.
I'll get you home. We'll make a partnership.
But we have to move fast. I need...
I can already tell these kids are gonna get on Jude Law's nerves, and it's gonna be funny to watch in the show. I think it should be good. Should be good. And I'm so glad. Again, I'm glad he doesn't have flowing hair. He would look so weird here.
To take the controls.
Okay.
Neil? Neil?
A crew of murderous pirates is coming.
Something's wrong.
They're not going to just turn up. We need to find them.
We're not alone down here.
I really hope it doesn't show too much of the parents, because that part already slowed it down to it slowed the trailer down to a grinding halt for me. I really hope they don't show too much of those parents in this one.
Oh, be warned of booby traps. Pirates and mountains where none...
Something's wrong.
They're not going to just turn up. We need to find them.
We're not alone down here.
Oh, be warned.
I love monsters too, and I'm glad they're putting monsters in this. That's one of my favorite, genres of all time is monsters. I like to see new ones. I mean, look at the locations, man. I mean, that looks beautiful. I mean, the show would be worth watching just for that. I think just to see the places that they take us will be really cool, even if the kids are a little annoying.
Of booby traps. Pirates and mountains where none dare to go.
If you hear this, don't give up. No matter what.
So yeah, there we go. December 3rd. I'll be watching it. Look, my other video, I said I wasn't going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. Okay, we're going to all watch it together. And I'm sure there'll be parts that we can enjoy from it. And we'll see if they do capture any of that 80s magic that they were talking about. Let me know what you think of Skeleton Crew down below. Are you going to be watching it? I'm going to be watching it. And we'll get back together here after December 3rd and we'll talk about it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you next time.